Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. In today's podcast titled Charge, we will be interviewing Danny Delos Santos. Danny is a local Portland basketball player that trains hard every day. Today, he will tell us a little bit more about his story and how he got to the place that he is today. Stay tuned for this podcast that is coming up next. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Daniel Delos Santos, born and raised in Portland, Oregon. I enjoy the arts of all kinds, and I like to read a lot, and I like to study a lot also, and just working on my plans for the future. That's pretty much it.
What do you like to do on your free time?
First, I must say I like to read. Reading kind of balances out where I get moments for myself. And second to that is definitely like to play basketball and competing just against other players. The physical challenge to compete against others is an unbelievable feeling.
What series of events made you want to play basketball?
Probably the time I was incarcerated in prison. I don't know why it happened to be basketball. I tried other things. I boxed. I did handball. I did other sports. Just for some reason, basketball just is the one that I gravitated towards the most. And I'll say probably just the people and how much they seen my competitiveness. They just pushed me to go harder. And in that negative environment, most everybody there wants to see you just destroy yourself. And in basketball, everybody there wanted to see you get better, because if you got better, then it offered them an opportunity to play against somebody that they could then compete against, and they would get better. Nobody on the basketball court seriously wanted to see you do bad. They might have kind of wanted to push you down because they were trying to beat you at the game, but ultimately they always wanted to give you tips on how to get better and kept inspiring you and motivating you to want to go. And in that environment, anything else in there is always about you self-destructing and you getting in trouble and who's the biggest and the baddest, and everything was negative. So this was something that was positive, and people wanted you to get better. So that's what really drew me in the most, I would say.
Who inspired you to play basketball?
I would say the person that inspired me to play basketball first in my life was my older brother. My friend Big Marv had the most impact on my game. And so just the fact that they acknowledged that I had an ability to play, and these guys believed in me, and they spent time to let me know that, and they gave me tips on things I need to work on, and each one for different reasons. But together, combined, they all made me who I am now, as far as on the basketball court, and even in certain parts of my life too.
How did your passion for basketball grow?
My passion grew for basketball, number one, from losing, just continuous losing. That in itself, I hated to lose. I couldn't stand it. I mean, there's just so many different things that go into wanting to win that it's like, if you don't have passion, then you're just gonna lose. That's just the whole key. So you gotta have a reason, and my two top ones is the freedom of my expression and how that feels to be in tune between mind and body, and losing or winning. For me, that's my passion. That's where I get it from.
Was there a time in your life where you found it difficult to continue playing basketball?
There's been numerous times when I've just wanted to quit. I would say when I'm not focused on, making basketball my life and I'm in other things, that's probably when I tend to want to quit. But it's because I'm just lost, and I've lost focus of what got me to certain success in life. And to other people, they may play an instrument or they may do other things to express themselves. But to me, this is just one of those things that's a part of my life so much that it's just kind of like I gravitate towards it even more now, because I realize that it's just so much a part of who I am that, without it, I don't think a lot of things in life would make sense. And it keeps me in shape. So it kind of goes hand in hand.
How have you shared what you've learned with others?
My style of sharing is that really worked with me is pointing out your strengths, but emphasizing your weaknesses. Some of us have built our whole capability, like our whole game or basketball game, around what we're good at. But really, you need somebody to point out all your weaknesses. The more often that you're told what you're not good at, the better you start being at basketball, because you want to correct it every single time you step on the court. You have to be reminded, look, you always drive to the left, you always shoot da 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 da, you always do this, or you always, that's terrible, that's a terrible pass, you can't be doing that. And you get constantly reminded. It's like you're training your mind to spot out every single flaw in your game. Again, there's not a lot of willing listeners, because it's a lot to take in as a player to constantly be, told that everything that you're doing is trash or it's garbage, And unless you're strong-minded and it means something to you to want to get better, to want to win and compete at a high level, you're not going to last. Because everybody can take a little bit of criticism. And then once you get to that level, then it's like it reaches a certain point with the good players that you don't have to say that anymore. And that's how they know. And I always remind them, I'm like, when you hear me not yelling at you, that means you're playing good. When I'm yelling at you, that means you're playing like garbage. And it's plain and simple. There's no other way, but you have to just work hard, and that's it. What I'm noticing is that a lot of the players, is not that they can't be good at basketball or they're not good. It's that they actually have personal, outside of basketball issues that they have to be dealt with as well. So sometimes you really end up being like a life coach, and their skills come along on their own. It's kind of weird. So you end up being in these situations where you end up just talking about life, and it has nothing to do with basketball, and that's all that's holding their progress up. So those are some of the things I like to share, is just explain to people, like, hey, sometimes you only have one or two things wrong with you. Sometimes you have all kinds of baggage. But the point is, do you want to get better? And that's what I show people, is if you want to get better, you're going to have to let your guard down, and you're just going to have to give it up, and you're going to have to work hard. And sometimes you're going to have to sit there and take a pummeling emotionally. And you're going to have to sit there and say, hey, you know what? It's not even the basketball. So those are just some of the things.
Is there anything that you would like to conclude with?
Dig a little deeper and get into it. Once you get into it, I'm telling you, it's like you just want to pick up a basketball, and you want to get shoes, and you want to get some new shorts and gear. And, it's something that you could do by yourself or with people that, just started. You don't have to sit there and be mesmerized by the TV, because that's what it is too. Is I think a lot of people think that it's they don't understand it, so they don't think that it's available to everybody. But whether you're getting paid or not, you can still learn the same life lessons from the sport. And that's really what I want to end with, is tell people that it's good for exercise. Just if you didn't even want to compete, just doing the drills and having to zigzag around cones and having obstacle course like things in the sport itself, just that itself with no competition, just you and seeing what you can do by yourself is, just you in a basketball, some cones and a hoop, you can sit there and be there for 35 minutes and be exhausted. And every time you're like, you know what, today I'm going to try to go harder. I'm going to try to go faster. I'm going to try not to fall, or I'm going to try to dribble between my legs, come back, go around this cone, go to the free throw line, shoot it. If I miss it, I got to do 2 push-ups. Boom, grab the ball again. Then I got to shoot a 3. If I miss it, I got to do 1 more push. And you can make a big old obstacle course out of it. But people just limit themselves because they think that it's just it's just like one-on-one, or I gotta be on a team, and I can't dunk it, or I can't shoot a three. But it's deeper than that. You get down, you start dribbling with a basketball in your hand, and you squat in a 90-degree angle, and you start dribbling, and I bet you can't sit there for 20 seconds without your legs starting to burn. So it's just an excellent way to get in shape and develop your own style and your own reason for why you do it. And you take those, and then lastly is that I've actually come up with a lot of ideas in my personal life while I was just shooting around, just by myself with some music on in my headphones or on a speaker, just shooting around and trying to understand certain things in my life. And through the course of basketball, just shooting around by myself and challenging my body, like I've come to a lot of conclusions. And I challenge everybody to do that. Just buy a basketball, and just head to the park, or somewhere where you can shoot around and spend some time by yourself, pushing yourself. And I guarantee you'll see yourself challenging. And just that feeling of that is just kind of like, man, I wonder what else I can challenge myself with. I obviously can make 5 in a row. What if I step a little further back? Can I make 5 from here? And it just applies to life. If you apply yourself to this for 5 months, what can you do if you had 5 years? Or what can you do in 10 years? Or what can you do if you had, you got one opportunity now? What can you do if you had 3 or 4? And it all makes sense. And that's what I want to tell people is like, just try it out. Head to the park, get a ball, some shorts, some comfortable shoes, and just start shooting around. And you'll see. And that's it.
Well, that concludes our podcast for today. Thank you, Danny, for sharing your story and inspiring others. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful day.